Looks like they've chosen Relic.
They did choose Relic, so they decided to go for the same strategy. They got to see what the Team Gold Glove, Team Steph did yesterday. They got to practice on this map, so it's only natural that they want to get the map that they're the most practiced on. So we're hopping on board right now. New character skin, who we seeing on screen right now?
That's Tomorrow Anya. She's part of the Brothers of the NTLC. Awesome weapon skin.
She's very elegant, if I do say so myself. So on board with Tomorrow Anya. They're going to grab the Fabricator.
She's playing a Scout here.
She's playing Scout, okay. So let's see where they're going to take this Fabricator here. Ryan, what is that for people that might be tuning in for the first time? What's the point of that Fabricator, or what are these dudes doing walking around with
it? The Fabricator is like a military battlefield 3D printer, right? So it's almost everything you need to defend against the Horde. So it's all tightly packed into a box, right? So they take it to wherever they want. They figure out, okay, as a team, like this is the thing, this is the place that we think has the best chances for survival. They'll deploy it, and then we start building fortifications that can help them.
There you go. It looks like they're going to decide to take the Fabricator back deep into the spawn, relatively deep. We saw, thanks to some of your coaching, we actually put the Fabricator further up and closer to us. What's the thought process there as to where you should put the Fabricator?
Well, yeah, like we said before, there isn't really a right answer. It's sort of the style of how you play. So this might work really well for them, but one of the things that we wanted to make sure is that we were maximizing that power gain, right? So like, if it's a little further forward, it means you don't have to reach so far back. If you're out there gathering power, reviving teammates, trying to get back to your base, you should have to run as far as if you put the Fabricator over there.
Power. Yeah, you were my constant reminder yesterday to be depositing my power. If I didn't have you in my ear kind of doing that, it's definitely something you can easily forget about. So
it's really easy to forget, right? You're out there, you're trying to get kills, and in the power, it's an essential thing for the engineer.
There you have it. On board now with a Soldier. Of course, the Soldier is kind of your classic Gears of War loadout. Lancer and Gnasher, which is so necessary for DPS. For certain enemies, the Carrier, which I'm not going to give away too much, is going to be coming here as a potential boss or someone to fight. They launch squids. What are they technically called? I'm sorry.
Well, they're not really technically called anything.
Okay,
they're like the
good.
little living projectiles that come out of it. Yeah.
I'm going to stick with squids.
Yeah, squids is good.
All right, cool. They look kind of like squids. So we'll see that if the Carrier comes as the boss in wave number 10. We saw that yesterday. A Lancer is very good against those, as you can actually stop those projectiles from coming at you. So it looks like wave 1, only one enemy left. What you're noticing right now is they're kind of keeping this guy alive. They're kiting him around for just a little bit so they can gather all the power. They got the call out that the power was gathered, and they are good to go. Round number 1 completed. Doesn't look like they broke a sweat.
Yeah, no, round number 1 is definitely the least difficult.
As logic would say. Ryan, a.k.a. John Madden. You're a big football fan, right? There you go. On board now with the Soldiers still.
It's really important that the team actually maximizes the 30 seconds here, so there's no enemies on the board. They gotta get power picked up, any weapons that they can find, as well as rearm from any the ammo boxes on the field. So it's really important that they make use of the maximum every second they have here. And obviously in Horde 3.0, they can actually pick up those fortifications and move them. So that if they don't agree with their teammates' way of setting up, they can actually disagree by, enforce by picking it up and moving it where they want to.
Interesting. So matchmaking. Is there matchmaking for Horde?
There is matchmaking.
Okay, so if you get some teammates that you're not feeling, you can definitely move those barriers around. That's good to know. And that's different from Gears 3, right? It wasn't dynamic in Gears 3, was it?
That's right. In Gears 3, they were actually placed on the map by the level designers. The locations they thought worked best, which was added a lot of gameplay, but we didn't think it had the emergent qualities that we're looking for.
Yeah, so you see a lot of power in one area. That Scout's going to pick up that power. Keep in mind, there's a card that gives, or sorry, not a card, the passive of the Scout gives the Scout the ability to get, is it 2 times or?
It's double power, actually.
Double the power.
Yeah, double
so if a Scout picks up that power only when they are in combat, that's an important distinction. They will get more power, so you really want your Scout to be around gathering. And power is something that's new to Horde and Gears of War 4. Explain the thought process behind power and how that works.
Yeah, so power, what we wanted is to get people out of their safe zone and actually have to, when they make that kill, the monster's going to drop the power in place. That means they have to run out and grab it and bring it back to the Fabricator. Now, we wanted to be able to do that during combat, not just sort of between rounds, so that it really gave a Scout like a really meaty role.
There you go. And I like that a lot. Horde was a blast in Gears 2 and Gears 3, but to your point, it was really static, right? You kind of have the same strategy, the same place you would set up. The maps were kind of automatically designed for that. Whereas one thing I've loved about Gears 4 is how dynamic it is. You really have to get out there and work as a team, rotate as a team a lot more, and it adds kind of a different game, a different feel every single time you play.
Yeah, we were really inspired by Gears 2. Like when players had to succeed in Gears 2 Horde, they really had to think about how to maximize their boom shield usage and maximize which weapon they were holding in between waves. And that emergent gameplay really was inspired us to create Horde 3.0.
It's awesome. Gears 2 is where it's all started for Horde and Gears of War, so good to see you going back to the basics with some optimized gameplay, which has definitely been the case. And then classics, also something new. What's your thought process behind the classics and what do they really add to Horde?
Well, it's really important to us that everybody that's playing Horde sort of has a really deep co-op experience, right? So to do that, we wanted to make sure there was dynamics between all the players, right? So with classes, it brings out a distinct role and a distinct play style so that you can find the one that works for you, but it also play a distinct role on the battlefield, right? So picking up power, building fortifications, doing a lot of DPS, sniping, whatever it is that suits your play style, there's a class for you.
And the last part you mentioned there is really the beauty, in my opinion, is what suits your play style. What is your team composition like, not only from the classes you choose, but the players on your team. And you saw that play out yesterday, for both teams. But speaking to the team I had a chance to play on, Team Gold Glove. Gold Glove's a great sniper. Everyone see the Gold Glove montages. Anyone in the crowd seen Gold Glove's montages? Let me hear if you're a Gold Glove fan out there. There you go. There they are. Yeah, so Gold Glove, phenomenal sniper. You saw him picking off domes left and right yesterday. We gave him the sniper role, whereas, I pride myself in being a very fast-paced player, good movement, and I was able to play scout. So you really see it play specifically to your team's strengths, and that's really one of the beauties behind Horde 3.0, in my opinion.
I don't hear anybody.
So it looks like round number 3, or wave number 3 was completed. Jumping into wave 4 here, when is it that it really heats up, when you should really start playing super cautious? Would you say any waves 1 through 10 of that case?
Well, like 1 through 10, we really see is almost the warm-up, right? Like on all difficulty levels, you're really like getting ready to go and take on the next 40. So no poisons have been applied. You get to see all the range of creatures, but the stakes aren't super high yet. And every wave in Horde adds at least 1 new creature. So when you get up to 7, 8, 9, you're going to start to see some of the bigger creatures. Things are getting a little hairier. And obviously, the boss wave is the really big deal.
There you have it. So what you're saying is if any team wipes in 1 through 10, aka the warm-up, that will be embarrassing.
Well, I mean, all these teams made it here, right? They all got to 10, so we should see pretty good sailing up to 10, and then once we hit 11, all the creatures have double health.
Yeah, double helps make a big difference, and that's a good point. I think that's something we didn't explain. Who are these people playing on main stage? It's actually people that have been playing on the floor all weekend long. To qualify for this event, you had to beat wave 10, get through wave 10 on the floor, and these teams have all done it once before. They think they can do it again. We said how dynamic it is, so it looks like they're doing pretty well so far. Is there a protector flying at them?
Yeah, the Protector's one of the BDs. It's one of the robotic enemies inside Gears of War 4. It's one of the 2 big armies, the DBs and the Swarm. Yeah, so you can see both of them here on Wave 4. Wave 4 introduces the Swarm to Horde 3.0.
We have it. Only 3 enemies left. Again, a good strategy is here. Let the scout go and collect all of the power while you're repairing things. Looks like they're not going to opt for that strategy here, as they're going to miss a couple opportunities.
It is a risky strategy. I feel like, just wait for that last unit because somebody always takes that kill.
That's true. That is, you have to be really in sync as a team, as we saw yesterday. They happened to us a couple times. So, especially when you're racing against another team to 50, if you slow things down like that, that adds some pressure for sure. So, looks like we got a pause here. Might be a little technical issue. I think I heard that they had some audio issues. They couldn't hear each other, so they're probably working that out. But Ryan, what have we seen so far? 4 waves have been completed, and we got a camera shot of the crowd. Once again, big shout out to the crowd. You guys been all awesome.
Can you hear me now?
Live on Twitch TV. You guys all famous.
Wicked.
Congratulations for being Twitch famous, peoples. Especially you right there. I see you with the flannel. No reaction. 0 reactions. Anyways, that's all right. There you go. We got a waiver. Shout out to you waving right there. That is awesome. You guys are great. The crowd has been amazing all weekend long here at the PAX Arena. Live. Big shout out to you guys.
That's okay.
Got Gears of War 4 that's been on display. Horde 3.0. Brought to you by the Coalition. So Ryan, what's the process been like from your perspective? I mean, this is your first PAX West as a developer, or?
Can you guys
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been a huge experience, actually. It's been like totally a career highlight, and it's been a huge moment for us, the Coalition, showcasing Horde 3.0. It's something we've been working on for almost 2.5 years. It's been a big deal. We've been playing it for a long time. We've been polishing it, refining it. We've really enjoyed it, and we're super happy to have the fans play it. It's something we're very excited about.
That's awesome. I can only imagine what this moment means to you. But let's jump right back into gameplay here. Wave number 5. They are, of course, almost halfway there to wave 10 for some swag. Something tells me these guys are going for it all. We'll see. But power is going to be collected. Keep in mind it's not the scout that grabbed that power, so they won't get the deposit bonus. That's, of course, if they chose the cards that give them the deposit bonus as the scout. That's something we have not talked about yet. The card system within Horde specifically, almost like perks, if you will. Can you explain that to the audience?
Yeah, very similar to how we were approaching fortifications, where they were very dynamic. We could pick them up around. We wanted to embrace that idea of emergence, how we put the classes together. So instead of a very prescribed approach where it's specific bonuses, you actually get like a selection of about 11 different abilities, and you can choose about 5 of them, or in this case 3 of them, because that's where the classes are, every time you go into Horde. So you have to build the class the way you think your strengths are, and make sure that you're aware of your team composition. So it really makes it a really big meta game for Horde.
That's awesome. And some examples of different cards are really awesome. You guys have got really creative with those. Like one of my favorites, the Sniper. And I haven't had a chance to play Sniper yet. I'm super excited for that. Has a card where they actually do AoE damage with the blood from a headshot. So if you get a headshot as a Sniper and there are enemies directly behind that person, you'll also do damage to them from an area of effect, which is a really cool one. Any other cards that really stick out to you as your favorite?
Well, I love playing this scout as well. So I mean, like, there's a whole bunch of them actually. Like one of the cool ones is the X-ray vision, where you actually get to see through the walls. And
What?
Yeah, like
that
so
exists?
Yeah, it exists. So like it's sort of like a permanent TACOM, so you can actually see all the enemies. And what it lets you do is survive as a scout in those higher waves. Because like as TACOM goes on and all the enemies are doing more damage, that scout's survivability keeps going down and down and down. So you really have to know where the
Yeah, that's a really, really cool, and I did not see that. So that's the thing, so many different opportunities. It's not just metagame in terms of your team comp, but it's metagame in terms of your specific class, as granular as your class. There are so many different ways to play your class, which is so awesome. And genuinely, I've always been a very competitive fan of multiplayer in Gears of War, as you know, and as a lot of people know. I am so excited for Horde and the opportunities to really go in there and be better every time, to do different things each time. There you go, headshot on the Swarm Drone Elite. There seems to be something different about that Swarm Drone Elite that is pretty effective.
Yeah, so like one of the Wave 5, we see the Swarm Drone Elite come on board, and especially Scout has to be aware of them because they're the only unit in the game that actually has the chainsaw, right? So they're equipped with the Lancer, and if you're not looking the right way and they come behind you, boom, one shot kill.
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I just boop. Yeah, and of course, if you're the Scout, you're playing deep, and then your buddies are gonna have to come and get you, and then sometimes it just turns into this negative death spiral, right?
Interesting.
So,
yeah. Be careful.
Very careful.
Do they also have Nashers, grenades as well, or just the chainsaw and the Lancer?
Well, I think they got the Lancer equipped, and they do come with frags, so I think you saw those yesterday.
I did. That's why I asked. I got killed by a cross-map nade by a Swarm Drone Elite completely out of nowhere, so you got to be careful, that's for sure. 2 enemies left. What you see them right now is they're kiting. They want their scout to go around and collect all the energy, which will allow them to optimize their power. That's something that's so important in Horde 3.0 in Gears 4. Now you just hear them say, all right, we're good, you can kill them, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, the units that you killed there were actually the new DB Deadeye, right? Carrying the new Ambar sniping rifle, which is a robot sniping rifle, which does have a scope.
Wow.
Yeah, it's actually a railgun where if you charge it up and you let it go at exactly when the crosshair converges, it fires a super powerful shot that with an active actually penetrates through enemies, so you can actually get collateral kills.
Wow, that is awesome. So collateral kills, kind of like the long shot, and the torque bow has always been that way in Gears 2, 3, and 4 as well.
I don't think it's 3.
In Gears 3 it was. Oh no, so maybe not. I might have made that up. But the long shot was in Judgment. Had collateral kill opportunities. I think it was Gears 2 you could get collateral kills with the torque bow. But very cool.
Oh, the torque, yeah, for sure.
Torque, yeah, torque. Yep. Very cool with the M-bar, and I've heard people, the common sentiment I've heard this weekend with the M-bar is, excuse me, montage, which has really been awesome. Some really good opportunities to get some sick plays and sick kills with the M-bar. So
we're really seeing these guys come together actually to build a layered defense. They're building up those barriers, which is super key, and they're bringing the sentries on board, actually. So almost every sentry adds maybe like another quarter or half a flare, so they're going to be able to do a lot of damage as long as the enemies are in front of them, and those barriers slow them down when they get too close to the sentry. Really, really fragile.
That's awesome. It almost becomes like a tower defense game as well as like a mini game with that.
Well, I mean, tower defense games kind of usually have that sort of prescribed, like, here's your flow. What you really try to do is maximize the possibilities by not really limiting you to where you place anything. So there's definitely a game to just placing the fortifications themselves to maximize the defensive potential, but yeah.
And one thing I'm noticing right now, a lot of power left on the field, only 4 enemies left, and now that you have sentries, you have to be careful because you might not be able to do the whole kite and let the scout gather power, but instead, one thing you were coaching us about is, hey, 5 enemies left, you really had to keep kind of grilling in the head. John, go get the power, stop getting kills and focus on power, and that's something I think we're not seeing right now that we could be doing to really maximize the power here.
It is important to bring up your teammates, though. Like, if you see somebody that's DB&0, Horde is all about survivability, team survivability, right? So, like, stay alive, keep your friends alive, and that's the way to keep fighting.
Very cool. And there you have it, Wave 7 completed. Let's do a little gut check. People in the crowd, are you still rooting on our friends up on main stage? Let me hear it. Give them some support. I love it. That is awesome. They are 3 waves away from kind of the first milestone, which is wave 10. You see some frag tags being tagged. And there's some cards around frag tagging as well, right?
Yep. The soldier's really the grenade expert, right? They've got a bunch of cards that enhance the grenade play. One of the biggest ones is actually their ability to both carry and plant a lot more grenades. It's like up to like sort of 6 or 7 grenades, so they actually really can trap out of an area.
That's awesome. And how effective is that? I mean, is a 1 blown up or tagged grenade usually equate to a kill, or in terms of health?
At the lower levels, yeah, for sure. But as we get into the deeper waves, like when we get the double health or the 2.5 times health, it starts to just sort of soften them up. But that's really important. If you can get your grenade play all like set up, it means that by the time the creatures are getting to you, either you've got a couple kills on them, or they're much softer for the next layer in your defenses.
Because as was always with Gears of War Horde, they don't gain their health back. There's no regenning of health.
Yeah, only players actually.
Only players regen.
Yeah.
Very cool. I mean, can you also tag shock grenades to slow them down?
You can actually, yeah. It stuns them, and so that actually does a little bit of damage to them as well. So that they're definitely a little more vulnerable to your the next layer of fire.
Shock grenades, a new grenade in Gears of War 4. We've seen them on display here. And what you're seeing right now is a pouncer. Ryan, talk to me a little bit about that pouncer that just got destroyed. What do you have to be worried about that pouncer in Gears of War?
Pouncer in Gears of War 4 is actually something we consider both a flusher and a pinner. So it's got that tail attack, so you got to be aware of it from long range, make sure it doesn't do too much damage. But then one of the biggest things that it does is it'll pounce on the player does. It's called Pouncer. And when you see that one of your players is pounced, one of your teammates is pounced, you have to run over, do enough damage, or kick it off, and then your teammate can get back up, right?
Wow.
So yeah, it's really an exciting unit, actually. It's really one you have to keep an eye of, and it's got a big carapace on it that makes it take a lot of punishment unless you're hitting it in that soft underbelly.
That's awesome. Very cool. That actually happened to me yesterday. I got pounced on, and my buddy Vern Notice, shout to Vern Notice, saved my life. Thank you, Vern. I appreciate that. I'll never forget it. So very cool. There's good, even more opportunities for teamwork. In addition to just kind of reviving your teammates and sticking together, you can also save their lives. And then there's another version of that with one of the Wave 10 enemies or bosses, and we'll leave that as a secret in case it happens here in this one.
3 left.
So we saw a little bit of adversity there in wave number 8. Some people went down, they had to get some revives, but in general, Team Gearheads has been really smooth sailing here so far on wave 1 through 8, which, as kind of Ryan mentioned, is as expected. You know, it's kind of a warm-up round for sure. And there's an example of the Sentry finishing the wave for you.
So you can see the fact that they've actually been getting some of their bonus objectives, which on the top left-hand corner of the screen, there was that survive bonus objective, which means they had to finish the wave without anybody dying. If they do that, they're going to get these airdrops you can see on the screen, which inside will be like bonus power weapons or grenades or extra ammo for everybody. And they seem to know what they're doing because they're holding on to them until there's a wave that is really difficult.
Interesting. Because keep in mind, if you do open that supply drop, which is super important, you can get a like a mulcher or a salvo, which disappears after the round.
That's right. So letting the airdrop just sit there is actually not a bad strategy.
Nice.
Opening it up too early will mean that those heavy weapons that you got bonus with clean up everything around. But those salvos, like the one, oh, that's just got a buzzkill actually.
Nice.
The buzzkill is another heavy weapon that we've introduced in Gears of War 4. It's like someone's modified a large industrial saw to shoot saw blades, and it bounces around the environment, doing a ton of damage.
Very cool. I had a chance to pick that guy up a few times yesterday. I'm not sure if you remember, and I launched it into the belly of our carrier and did some work with it, and I think that actually killed one of the carriers. So very, very effective weapon. Wave number 9 here. We are 1 round away from wave 10. We can see some buzzsaw action. Yes, we are. Good shots with the buzzsaw by Kate.
I got buzzsaw right now.
It looks like they still have a lot of enemies alive here, so they have to be careful, but they're doing a good job so far staying alive and surviving. Shot his teammate there. No friendly fire though. Wow,
Yeah,
you saw that just
ton of damage.
cut him in half. Crowd reacted a little bit to that one, as they should. It was gruesome. That was beautiful. Ooh, he didn't even get it through the... Oh, he's actually going to get taken out. So a little greedy there was Kate with the buzzsaw, trying to get a revive here. This is an opportunity now for the Horde team to kind of swoop in, but it looks like they're able to recoup and regenerate. So talk a little about the engineer class. We see 19,000 currency, et cetera, if you will, in the Fabricator right now. Should they be holding that much power?
It's not a bad strategy actually between 1 and 10. Like, if you can keep those fortifications alive and they don't take too much damage, you can really be spending that power when you need it. That being said, they've been getting through this a little faster, a little cleaner, and like making sure that they could maximize their power collection during the wave if they were maybe had a stronger defense. So I'm not sure exactly why they're holding on to not as much power as they are, because one of the things they want to be doing is upgrading that Fabricator. And the faster you build, the quicker the Fabricator is going to upgrade and maybe get to level 2. And Horde is all about momentum.
So the faster you build, what does that mean? Is that the more power you spend?
Yeah, so every time you build something, the Fabricator gets a little bit smarter, and once it's leveled up to level 2, it unlocks more powerful fortifications.
I see. You see them moving the turret here, essentially. What's the thought process there? Just keep it alive?
Well, he's moving it around, I think, trying to get a good angle, as well as, yeah, probably not have it destroyed, but I think he could just drop it and let it do its work, actually.
Interesting. So there you go. Wave 9 completed.
Some achievements here.
And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we're jumping into wave number 10. Our first team competing here. The crowd is behind them. That's awesome to see. Friends helping friends. I like it. They're going to back that turret up into the spawn, actually, as they're preparing.